like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
The Jikook phenomenon. You've seen the edits, you've read the theories, but what's really going on between Jimin and Jungkook? In a world ruled by 3-second video clips, slow-motion eye glances, and millions of viral TikTok fan edits, the imaginative pairing known as Jikook has become one of the most intensely discussed phenomena in modern K-pop fandom history. It's not just typical fan service. It is a living narrative shaped by emotion, interpretation, and the yearning to believe in a connection deeper than what's shown on camera. This narrative dives into the delicate line between genuine chemistry and the stories we create to feel closer. It does not judge nor push an agenda. Instead, it invites us to look with honesty. Are we witnessing reality or celebrating a collective imagination? To understand this phenomenon, we first have to see how narratives are born. It starts from the smallest moments: a gaze that lingers a little too long, a smile that seems unprompted, a light touch perceived as full of meaning. Jikook was never born from official confirmation. It grew from organic movements caught on camera, then amplified by the collective emotions of millions of viewers. A single glance becomes a 5-minute analysis. A hug becomes global discourse. Facts and interpretations move side by side, often without a clear boundary. In reality, Jimin and Jungkook are known to share a unique dynamic. Jimin, warm, empathetic, and naturally protective, is often seen soothing or supporting Jungkook in various situations. Jungkook, on the other hand, reserved yet deeply intuitive, tends to show closeness only to those he truly feels safe with. This combination creates chemistry that feels genuinely organic, not manufactured, but born from years of shared hardship, training, exhaustion, and growth together from teenagers to global icons. But in the world of fanfiction, the story doesn't end with facts. It begins. Imagination begins to dance. In fan interpretations, every look can hold a secret. Every accidental touch can symbolize emotional possession. That is why Jikook is more than just a ship. For many, it is an emotional experience. A source of joy, escapism, even personal comfort. Fanfiction offers a universe where love is allowed to bloom without the limits of reality. Yet let's step back into the real world for a moment. On global stages, from stadium tours to formal interviews, the two maintain unwavering professionalism. They have never directly confirmed nor denied the narratives fans believe in. What is undeniably clear is mutual respect, unconditional support, and an intimacy that can only exist between two people who have walked a long journey together. For many observers, that alone is enough to call their chemistry real, though real does not always mean romantic. Perhaps that is why Jikook reflects human nature so vividly. We want to believe in something beautiful. We want to find love in the most high-pressure spaces. We want to believe that behind grand stages and flawless choreography, there is a bond that cannot be faked. And maybe there truly is. It just might not exist in the form we try to define. This is where fanfiction and reality meet. Fanfiction celebrates possibility. Reality celebrates honesty. Fanfiction gives us permission to dream. Reality teaches us to appreciate. And as long as we don't confuse the two, there is nothing wrong with loving both at once. This narrative is not here to crush imagination, but to invite a more mature understanding that the beauty of Jikook is not just about whether they are together, but about how two humans built such natural chemistry that the world simply cannot stop talking about them. And perhaps that is the true magic, not in the answer, but in the emotional journey of witnessing them together. Behind the stage, at 3 a.m. rehearsals, when bodies are drained but laughter still lingers, that is where their bond grows, unscripted. Cameras often fail to capture the depth of what is never meant for the public eye. What we see is merely a fragment of what truly unfolds. And yet, ironically, it is those tiny fragments that ignite the imagination of millions. When Jimin instinctively fixes Jungkook's hoodie mid-concert, fans interpret it as a protective act of love. When Jungkook sits silently, listening to Jimin with soft, focused eyes, people see it as a wordless love language. But for those who live in the world of performing arts, that kind of closeness can be born from years of trust. From learning to read each other's body language. From spending more time together than with their own families. This is what makes the Jikook discourse so complex, because there is no single, correct answer that will satisfy everyone. Each person brings their own experience, hope, and fantasy to the screen. Some see friendship. Some see love. Some see emotional maturity. Others see nothing more than elite professional chemistry. Every interpretation comes from a different corner of the heart, and all of them are valid to feel. Yet the line between admiring and claiming is one that must be understood. Because the truth is, Jimin and Jungkook never asked the world to define their story for them. What they share is honest warmth, never meant to be forced into anyone's script. Reality does not change just because we wish it to. But imagination does not deserve to die just because it is not reality. And perhaps that is where the magic lies. That love does not always need to be defined. That connection does not always require a label. That there are forms of affection beyond language, yet deeply felt by millions all the same. Jikook, whether as fanfiction or reality, is a mirror of how humans love, interpret, and attach meaning to closeness. In the end, this narrative is not about finding a definitive answer. It is about the courage to celebrate feeling without harming reality. Because perhaps the most beautiful part is not knowing whether they are something, but realizing that their existence has already become something to us. The visual world of Jikook, born from thousands of fan edits, reveals how powerful human interpretation can be. When an editor slows 1 second of eye contact into 5 seconds of longing, when a soft background score is added to make a moment feel like a film scene, what is created is not a lie, but a new version of emotion. An emotion that doesn't have to be true, yet feels completely real. This is where fanfiction reaches its most beautiful form, not just as a story, but as an emotional contribution to something deeply loved. In contrast, documentary footage shows the other side. In the practice room, Jimin and Jungkook speak like two friends who understand each other without needing many words. No slow motion, no dramatic filters. Just brief laughter, stress-relieving jokes, and moments of comfortable silence that require no explanation. A relationship like this is too pure to be forced into any definition, and perhaps that is exactly why it feels so sincere. When they stand side by side on a stadium stage, with a sea of purple light sticks waving like a galaxy before them, there are fleeting moments where words are unnecessary, yet they seem to instantly understand what the other feels. Is it love? Is it loyalty? Or simply gratitude for having survived this far together? The answer might be all of them, or none at all. But one thing is certain, that moment belongs to them first, long before it belongs to the millions watching. In an era where privacy is increasingly rare, fandoms often forget that closeness does not equal possession. The presence of fans is a powerful force, but it can become pressure when interpretation turns into expectation. Many forget that while fantasy is allowed to bloom, reality still deserves the right to stand on its own, unaltered. To love an idol should expand the heart, not restrict their ability to breathe. Yet, undeniably, Jikook has meaning for countless people who feel seen and understood through them. Some find courage, validation, even hope in the way they treat one another. For some, watching these two laugh together is a reminder that gentleness can exist even on the world's biggest stage. That intimacy does not need words to be deeply felt. In truth, this narrative is not just about two names. It is a reflection of humanity's need for stories. Stories to love, to endure, to keep believing that connection still exists in a world growing colder and faster by the day. Jikook is a symbol, not just of two individuals, but of how digital culture shapes the way we experience affection. And in that space, fanfiction and reality will always touch, not to replace each other, but to enrich the way they are felt.